everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And we're taking a look at the elimination battles from the first season of Street Woman Fighter. These series of battles is going to be from YGX and La Chica. So I know that at this point, La Chica has already kind of battled through an elimination already, but we get to see them here again against YGX, and I believe they come out on top here as well. So as we watch each battle, I kind of understand how the results are going to be, and that's how I may tailor some of my feedback. So we're going to go ahead and take a look. Okay, so last round right here.
Only beat talk, it come out my mouth. You know this too good, can't leave.
So this is YEOJIN.
I like the pout. My pop that shit if you pull it out. It go in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. My pop that shit if you pull it out. My pop that shit if you pull it out. It go in and out, 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 in and out. I'ma pop it if I pull out. Trap who make 'em pull out.
Okay.
Classy hoe, make me bring the hood out. If it's more beef, tell 'em pull up to the cookout. Big lotto, big jack keys, get booked out. In and out, I'ma
Okay. All right, let's see. Okay. This is very different than what I've seen from Peanut. Even though, like, she does whacking so well, but how she's hitting this pocket does remind me of Sarah, which I absolutely love, and a little bit of Lip J. There's a good chance that they're probably part of the same whacking crew together. I'm not 100%. Maybe somebody told me. That was a freaking great set out of Peanut. And I know this is probably a 2 wins and 2 wins. Oh, here we go.
What's that?
Ah.
Technique.
Woo! Okay, so that was what a round, man. Okay, so I'm assuming, going off the assumption that there was 2 wins for La Chica and 2 wins for YGX, because I've been reacting in order of the battles. So this was the final battle, and I know that La Chica ended up taking it. But if I was just watching this without knowing that, I would have picked Peanut as well. But let's talk through it. Okay, so talking with YEOJIN, what she brought, great start. I love her song choice here. I know they probably didn't get to choose, but I know that they're probably familiar with the tracks that are chosen. Possibly, not sure. I love that. Boom, boom, hit that bass. Really nice, aggressive start. Love it. She's placating more towards the judges, which could, I mean, both of them are kind of hitting towards the judges, so we're not having that kind of discrepancy here. So she is hitting some of her grooves repetitively as a travel, which I think is fine, but it only becomes not fine if your opponent explores their music so fluently that your groove repetitions seem a little bit simplistic in comparison of the 2 sets. But I think that there is always, sometimes it does work in your favor when you do that. I like the slow motion she chooses to do here. But whenever she's not quite hitting, or she's not making her musicality shifts as aggressively, or not taking as many risks, it doesn't feel like she's taking risks. She is in her performance, I want to say that. She's taking risks in her performance and how she's choosing to extrovert her movement, but the musicality or her technical choices are not quite as risk-taking in the flow of the music. It feels very much like you're writing it predictably with some sense of familiarity behind it. Which is what us as humans are naturally inclined to want to tailor to whenever we listen to tracks. I love that, where she goes down, bring the hood out. That was a super fun choice with the rope. That was great. I'm glad she used it. And then she dropped lower. That was great. Yeah, that was great. Now, if Peanut brought something similar to what she's brought in the past, I think YEOJIN would have had a bigger chance of, with her rematch, of kind of taking the battle. But Peanut explored a completely different posture of movement. The only other two people that I have seen explore something of this nature is Sarah from season 2 of Street Woman Fighter and Lip J from the same season from Proudmon. Just from remember, I am operating out of a 2023 lens. This happened in 2021. My feedback may have been completely different back then. Remember, I was younger. I didn't quite know as much technical backing of a lot of things. I was still discovering a lot of people from this community. So I want you to know that my feedback to this is stemmed from, I'm currently watching it now in 2023. I love how she sets this up. Just the angles and how she explores more legato. And normally she hits very aggressively, but here it's very smooth. She's taking her time, which is different than what we're used to seeing from her. Like, it feels like Peanut's pocket, but her choices, I can feel like we're exploring a very different dynamic vocabulary, dynamic toolkit than what we haven't seen from her. Her overheads right here, that right there, boom, boom, boom. We've seen Sarah do something similar to that in her thing, which is what makes me wonder if they are in cohorts together in some way, maybe train under the same people. I know that there's a lot of overlap in the whacking community, so that's why I say that. I love when people do that. It's so impressive. She's very stable. She's freaking barefoot, you know? It's just, she's hitting things. If you know the track, she's hitting things predictably to a certain degree, the style and some of the piano choices. But if you just look at her in-betweens, her transitions, they're all seamless. You don't quite know where she's wanting to hit. And that's the beauty of it. And it's not like she's just randomly hitting. She's so fluent in it that we are just exploring her interpretation of the track physically. And that's what you want. That's just so nice. So, boom, just that body roll. It's just different than what we've seen from her. Ding, ding, right into the overheads. Oh, I love that. Da, 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 and then back up, you know? So I really think that this, it feels isolated and they didn't do rematch. There's no contest. But Peanut took this one very, very, very well. She did. And I love she framed it well. It was so nice how she brought it. And now it's time for them to both hear their same track. It is different. It took him a second to hear it. Because look at Gabby. She's like, I don't know if I know this. Now, if we look out of both groups, Lachika, like I've already mentioned before, they're operating at a biggest disadvantage because they've been on this elimination ring more than other crews. YGX hasn't been in this elimination ring yet. So we have seen most of their battles and their freestyles more than any other crew at this point, right? So I think that we got to be very mindful of what they bring to the table. Has to continue to be creatively pushing the limit in order for us to stay captivated with what they're bringing. And when we don't see it as being overly simplistic, something that we're too familiar with, they're not as creative, things of that nature. And what she does is she is maintaining her wax because that is what she's known for, but how she's choosing to explore it is very different in her posture and how she's choosing to groove through the track. Now, when you look with YEOJIN, she's trying to promote more of an aggressive state, but because she already established that in her previous set that she did here, it is difficult for us to see that as something different than what we've already seen. It feels like an extension of what we've seen her do already. And it also depends on what the judges are looking for. By having a secondary track that may be exploring a different pocket, it's do you want to see them stay and maintain their fingerprints, but engage in a different posture or pocket and grooves? And by that, you may see some different creative outlets out of that or different products out of that. Or do you want them to keep and maintain the overall essence and presence of what they brought in set 1 and convert it over into this? So they're operating at the opposite ends here. You have a song and a track that Peanut did that's more femme, more legato. It had body rolls and nice placements with the piano, and the percussion was different. It was very nice. With YEOJIN, it kind of popped off. It was a little bit different. And now, but what you're seeing is YEOJIN is continuing with that same pocket and posture into this rematch, whereas with Peanut, she's keeping the fingerprints of her technique, but she's changing up her posture and groove. So it's really up to preference on what are the judges looking for, because it feels like in each round, one of them can overtake the other. Somebody maintaining their groove and pocket works for them, whereas with somebody else, it's just not matching. But whereas here, I really feel like she maintained her fingerprints, but she had to convert it, and I think she converted it a lot better than she could have. Really. because she's very strong in how she engages in her wax, and that's why I say that. So I would say with YEOJIN, I really like that she's trying to frame over, but I think she didn't do herself any favors being more further back than where Peanut was, because your eye, at least for our camera work, our camera wanted us to draw our attention to Peanut more because she was naturally closer in our frame than YEOJIN was, you know? So I like that boom boom with the kick she did there. So she does feel like she is, her posture is different. It does appear that she is changing up some of her wax, but they do look similar. Also note, Peanut went to the ground there. YEOJIN, I don't think, has gone to the ground yet at this point, but I'm going to verify it real quick. Let me look here. Did she go to the ground at all? She did. And that's my kicker here too. She did go to the ground, but look where she is. It looks like she's hanging out with her crew over here, whereas you have Peanut right here in the forefront. So it's difficult to catch those moments, but it is good. I'm glad that she's varying it up, going to the ground, coming up, using her stage, going around. So I would say if we're just looking at the rematch in isolation, I would say YEOJIN has a higher chance of taking that. But if you look at the isolated 40 seconds versus the 40 seconds, I'd say Peanut by a large margin overtook YEOJIN and what she brought to the table, because it was different. And do I think that YEOJIN extended the margin of one-upping Peanut here big enough to overcompensate for the margin that was set from the 40 versus 40 seconds? I don't believe so. So that's why I would kind of go with Peanut on this one, but I think YEOJIN really put up quite a fight, and this is definitely one of the best final battles that you could have for eliminations, and I think for them, it's all very cordial with a hug. I love that. I just love that, and that's the kind of double-edged sword with elimination battles, is that the downside is somebody goes home. The upside is you get to actually see genuine interactions like this, truly, and I prefer that, you know. So overall, I mean, I think YGX put up a huge fight in this one, and it was really nice to see some really great moments from them. There is also a chance that possibly that some of their sequences that they did in their 5v5s or their 2v2s were similar to their sequences that got them put in elimination to begin with, you know, with their kind of just bringing the same thing. Now, I know for myself, when I've done feedback for YGX, I did end up reacting to the entire Street Man Fighter series in between Street Woman Fighter Season 1 challenges. So I have a huge gap of hours of analytics that are separated between a lot of the challenges for Street Woman Fighter Season 1. Hence why I may not have picked up on it as quickly as other people may have brought to my attention. So I thank you guys for letting me know those things were said, because it wasn't in my head, in my forefront watching, but now that I know that information, it helps me understand possibly why maybe if I said that YGX won one when actually Chica won it, that could be a component as to why. But all in all, this was a fabulous battle elimination series, and I really enjoyed watching both crews bring their best, because it was really nice to see. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I was helpful in some way. With these elimination battles, I really feel that we're just able to see just different sides of these crews that we normally don't get to see in the challenges or in the initial battles. So part of me loves seeing them and seeing the crews that are in these eliminations, but part of me is not, because that means one of the crews are not surviving the eliminations. And I do know at this point, Season 2, we do have one more grouping of elimination battles that are going to be taking place, and we have no idea who's going to be in them. And I just can't wait to look at that alongside you guys. It's going to be wild, and I don't know if I'm ready for it, but we'll get through it together, and it'll be good. Thank you guys again for watching, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.